do have to, pay someone to manage that equipment that splits it. So it has to be a substantial, it has to be a big enough gain in the savings. And initially I thought it would be, but I'm inclined to agree with the HGE people that adding that extra layer of equipment might not be might not really cover might not be such a huge gain, especially seeing, as they pointed out the other day, that they can get multiple services at the DMARC. I'm just going to turn something off boiling, but they can get multiple drops of Crown Castle and get a discount.
Graham.
So has our regular meeting started, Gail? I'm not quite.
Yeah. Let's fire it up. Let's get started.
It's already recording.
Yep, we're recording. We're ready to go. All right, let's dive in. We'll circle back to the whole WG&E plan discussion in a little bit. So tonight we're going to get through most of the open meeting stuff, and then we'll vote to move to executive session so that we can discuss the Sheld proposal and what's going on with Crocker. But we actually have quite a few things to do before we get to that part. So first thing is approve the meeting minutes. We have two of them, one from December 15th and one from January 13th. January 13th was that executive session Sheld meeting.
I move to approve the minutes.
Second, there's kind of a technical little point here that you need to approve executive session minutes in executive session, otherwise they become open.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, but then, there was some further discussion that would mean there would have to be executive sessions.
Yes, going on forever. Going on forever.
So how that ever all got resolved. It was one of those interesting points of logic there.
Right, we have in infinity executive sessions forever and ever.
Yeah.
It's a mirror looking at a mirror. That's hard to understand how they could have made that rule.
Well, for the purposes of today, we have an executive session, so we could hold the approval of those minutes of January 13th and the 15th, until the executive session. So why don't we just do that? Because we can today.
Sure.
So could someone amend that to just approve the open minutes from December 15th?
I move that we approve just the open minutes of last week or the last meeting.
Second the amendment.
Great. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Great. All right. Graham, anything to report from the hut?
I just did the normal check and everything was in order. I did. The hut is now a proud owner of a 3-step thing, so that people don't have to stand on a folding chair on those occasions. I also noticed the thing they plug the laptop into, it was lying on the floor like someone had left in a hurry or something. So I hung that, just the patch cord that comes out of the back of our ONT. And initially I thought, oh man, something's been unplugged. But then I realized it must have been the thing that people plug the laptop into. So anyhow, I tidied that. I hung it back up on in a way that's it's not on the floor. There weren't many, as Tim Otto remarked, that there weren't many service calls last month, kind of like 20. Half of them were phone, half of them were internet, odd things, and a few administrative things. So there wasn't much there at all. No. And so, nothing else to remark. And, oh yeah, I checked, as I nearly always do, 70% tank capacity in the propane tank out the back.
Good, good. I was wondering about that.
Yeah.
Was just thinking, whatever came of Bacharach come out to do a service on the generator? Did that ever happen? Or?
Well, it must have, because we got a bunch of, Gail, I think you probably got the emails that they were doing something and they reset something, and in fact the service thing no one ever contacted me. I don't know, did Bacharach ever talk to you, Gail?
Yeah, they said, yes, we're coming to do that this week. And this was
okay.
like the beginning of January, end of December, somewhere in there.
Okay. All right.
So
Well,
I'm just assuming that they followed through and did that. But
well,
it
they
might be
seem to
worth
have
it.
they've reset the exercise time, for instance, and from
Okay,
what they
yeah, that would
from
indicate
what they
they're there.
did initially, they did something that upset the system, because we were getting I can't remember what the problem was, but for about half an hour, I think I was getting an email every minute saying that something was not right. And I guess they were getting the same email because they fixed it after about half an hour. And I don't remember the particulars of it, but it was that they just set a status that the generator was unhappy with, and that's good. That's exactly what it's supposed to do. Flag problems. And so yeah, that was I'm sure that service occurred, Steve, but no one ever except for Gail hearing from them. I never heard the details.
Okay.
So speaking of maintenance, tonight between 1 and 3 a.m., they're going to be testing that MBI circuit. So that's happening tonight. For materials, we have a couple of little hiccups there. So if you recall, we went through the whole process of getting a quote for those ONT wall warts to be able to plug those in case people's batteries go out and they just want to do a direct plug. It's all good to go. I signed the quote, and Crocker ordered them, and then everything just stopped. Apparently Crocker's Calyx account has to be renewed.
Whoa.
So they're working on that, but that order is
that's
paused.
That's a little concerning, because we have a Calyx account. They could be buying them for us. I mean, because we're paying something to Calyx with our extended service contract thing, right?
Correct, but in order for Crocker to order them and pay for them, which is how it's set up right now, they have to have a Calyx account. So it's not, they don't have to pay anything for it. It's just, okay. I assume they have to do a credit check on the business, something like that.
It's bizarre.
Yeah. So anyway, it's happening. It's just paused for now. Also, I'd gotten a quote to get 10 new routers for us. They were hovering around $90 a pop. Their price has now gone up to $143.
Ooh, wow.
So almost a 50% increase.
Wow.
So there's 2 new installations on Monday, which is going to reduce our stock of routers down to about 5. So I told Tim to hold off on buying more routers for now, until we figure out what's next in terms of which vendor we're going to use and what our go forward plan is, because if we decide to go with another vendor, then there's the shelled option. So Jim, I'm going to mute you. I think that's you. There you go. Where was I? Oh yeah. So there's other options for routers, and also our router isn't that great. I mean, it's a good router, but things have changed a lot in the last 3 or 4 years, and there's better routers out there now for a comparable price of $140, $150. So Anyway, is everyone okay with this? If I just put the router order on hold until we figure out what we're doing here with our ISP?
I'd say
Yeah.
yes, but okay, so it's $50 a router for 5 routers. It's $250 more than we were expecting to pay. It's better to pay that than to actually have zero stock and need one and not be able to do an installation, say, because we didn't want to pay the extra $50 for a router.
I agree. We're still going to have at least 5 extra routers in inventory, even after the new installations that are happening this month. So I'll just watch that stock along with Tim.
Yeah.
And if we get low, I'll revisit it. If we get really low, I'll just trigger them to order.
Yeah.
Gail, is this the same router, the EA 7300? Because I'm surprised at the price increase, because that price is now up to what the replacement one, which is I think the 7500, which is a better router, frankly, cost if you can go over to like Walmart and buy them. So I'm surprised at that price hike. That seems unreasonable to me.
Well, they're running short on supply and they don't want to make more, and so you raise the price and
Yeah,
get what you can.
well,
Whatever
get
the
the-
I agree with Gail that we should hold off until I mean, keep a few, we need the stock that we need right now, but hold off until we know what we're doing in, in.
There's an AC 1900 for only $44. The same Linksys.
Yeah.
So if we do decide to go to a different router, we have 2 issues. Number one, somebody's going to get the router and say, you gave me something that whatever, I don't know. Or they're going to find out this is a much better router, and they'll tell their friends, and their friends are going to say, hey, my router started dying too recently. Maybe.
well, Craig, this new or this relatively new Linksys router, they look identical to the ones that we have.
Exactly.
And although I noticed the difference because I measure things, the average subscriber won't notice at all.
But for that matter, this AC 1900 that I'm seeing at Amazon is renewed. $44, looks exactly the same. They won't know the difference either.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we got plenty of options.
I can't say that I'm relishing having the whole router discussion again, but we'll do it.
Oh, when it comes time to, I'll be excited about it,
Yeah.
but not now.
No. Okay. So why don't we talk a little bit about that cluster meeting that happened today at 3:30 last minute.
Mhm.
Yeah, wow.
So couple things about it. So for those of you who weren't here, the way that this went down was, we met in the fall with them and they gave us kind of a halfway done proposal. We met with Wendell, New Salem, and Westfield, talked about what else was needed. They said, great, we'll get back to you with a new proposal. Months and months passed, we heard nothing. And then about 2 weeks ago, I got a contract from them saying, please sign this. No context, no, nothing. And so I wrote back and said, you can't just ask us to sign a contract. You haven't given us diagrams. You haven't, given us any more documentation. We haven't met again about this. Wendell and New Salem said the same things to them. So they kind of threw this meeting together.
It's bizarre, that whole thing.
It was very weird. It was very weird.
Yeah.
So anyway, we met today, but then we met at the meeting, and at the meeting they said, that thing that we sent you, don't use that. We're going to do it. We're going to make a new one. So we did get some more information, but there's nothing actionable right now because they're working on a new proposal. So we don't have any labor and materials costs for what it's going to be for Shutesbury. The last version of what they sent a couple weeks ago was $12,754 would be Shutesbury's one-time costs to set everything up. In this new proposal, one thing that they're going to be looking at is shared backhaul costs for between us, Wendell, and New Salem. It would be possible to share a 10 gig connection with Wendell and New Salem because they each top out at about 1.5. So conceivably we could share a 10 gig connection somehow. What else did I write down? Let's see. It is going to give, the plan that they're working out is going to give us geographic redundancy because Wendell or New Salem would act as the interconnect for MBI, so coming down through Orange, and we would do Crown Castle through 1 Federal Street. So we would get that problem solved with this. And they also suggested that we could do 2 shares. We could share Crown Castle at 10 gigs, and we could share an MBI connection at 10 gigs. So it would be a fully backed up instead of the solution we have now, which is sort of backed up by MBI with 1 gig in case that happens. Of course, that's going to increase the cost pretty dramatically because out of all the providers, paying MBI for a 10 gig connection is the worst, the most expensive. I think it was, hold on, let me look it up. I think it was, I took a screenshot of that thing that they showed. $6 grand, $6 grand a month.
And we'd have to pay half of it because we've got twice
Right.
as much. We've got as much as the other 2.
Right. So
I think it wouldn't be any fun to pay $3,000 a month for something that we use so rarely. I think that's the reason why we're on a gig now,
Yeah.
because mostly it's not going to happen.
Gail, you mentioned that the Crown Castle shares through 1 Federal Street, but I believe it's through our connection on Pratt Corner Road, wouldn't that, the 10 gig?
Yep.
yes, but then the network core would go back to 1 Federal.
The Crown Castle circuit starts
Correct.
off
Yeah.
at 1 Federal.
Yeah. I what's the correct terminology for that, Graham? Is it
It's a
core or
circuit.
circuit?
It's a circuit.
Circuit. Okay.
Just backing up to the WGE thing, we were paying and we paid some thousands of dollars, right, to get a proposal, but getting a proposal doesn't commit us to anything, having to do anything, obviously, because otherwise, you'd be signing. So we all agree that it was a proposal that we've maybe almost received now, but it's not. Did they send you something in paper that was the proposal yet? Okay, so yeah, okay. So even when they give us a proposal, we get to think about it, obviously, and not just. It's crazy that they would suggest you just sign something that they hadn't sent you. I mean, that's bizarre as well.
Yeah.
Gail, I had a few thoughts and questions here. First of all, they had a lot of supporting documents that were up on the screen. The network design and the list of requirements, so forth. Did you get any of that?
Nope.
Yeah, I mean, they put that up as they kind of scroll through it and think, well, this would be useful to have in front of us to review it. And so, yeah.
Yes, I quickly took some screenshots of things, but they're pretty low quality, and but they said that they would send out another, the revised proposal before our next meeting, which they said they would do before the end of the month. So we'll see.
I just looked at my notes from previous ones. The last meeting was on October 14th. And at the end of it, I note next meeting date, October 28th. Oh, 2.5 months later,
Mm-hmm.
have a meeting.
It's not very reassuring, the whole thing, the way, I mean, I got my invitation from Chris Lavert to at sometime this afternoon. I mean, I know if I'd read my email from you, Gail, it would have been a little earlier than that, but
Yeah, it was sent at 4 o'clock on yesterday.
yeah,
For a meeting today at, with less, well, I guess 1 hour, 25 hours notice.
it's very disconcerting to
Yeah.
be considering going into a deal with them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm also curious, do you think, Westfield knows that our ISP contract is up in June?
Yeah, so this is one thing that I wanted to bring up today is we're in talks with Sheld because Sheld reached out to us and said, hey, we're offering these services. So as a courtesy, but also as due diligence, what I would like the board's approval to do is to reach out to Westfield Gas and Electric and say, we're gathering information about our options for moving forward with a network operator and ISP. Could you please send me a proposal? And I'm going to ask for it by the end of this month. So, in a little less than 2 weeks. It's not going to be detailed. I'm just going to ask for, what's your best deal that you can give us on subscriber charges, and fill out a little form about their repair costs. Because that's really the numbers that we are considering, and then backhaul too. I'll ask them to put that in there with the understanding that it's also dependent on doing the the ring thing with Wendell and New Salem or not. So is everyone okay with that if I ask them for this?
Yeah, as long as we make sure we've got apples compared to apples, because like you say, somehow or other the proposal that they have to, if you ask for a proposal, then we want it all inclusive with the ring and the ring maintained. So so that might be hard for them to quickly knock out in 2 weeks, given their track record for doing anything. But yeah, so because at the moment they could give you a price as an ISP and a network operator that didn't have any of this proposal that we haven't really seen yet. So and the proposal will have a maintenance cost as well. So I don't know, what do you think? Could we get much of a concrete proposal from them in the next?
Well, yes, because they are offering their ISP and network operator services to, I don't know, like a dozen towns. So they can give us that. And we don't know, but I assume that they're going to be much higher than Crocker and Sheld, in terms of the monthly charges for subscribers. And all I'm really looking for here is to be blunt about it, to take them out of the running. If they send that back and it's much higher, then we won't pursue it. However, if they send back a great deal, then all of a sudden, take a tender.
Okay.
And then we start talking more details. So that's really, I'm just trying to get a base price on them.
Okay. So get a base price without complicating it with the ring and stuff like that. Okay.
Yeah.
We're working back to the ring discussion this afternoon and think, okay, they do know our. Do you think they have a clue of what we're talking with Sheld about, and this, particularly the sharing with Leverett, because that to me impacts how this whole ring would work, particularly regarding the sharing of the Crown Castle. We backhaul. We decided it would be kind of risky to share our backhaul with Leverett because we'd be bumping up against the 10 gig.
That's what I was remembering.
New Salem and Wendell together are probably equal to what our usage or what Leverett's usage is. It would be kind of the same issue there. We've got a couple different things in play, but
yeah, it's still a little bit less. Wendell and New Salem are topping 1.5 at their busiest. So it's still
just to understand that 1.5, and when we see 3.5, when it's time average. So really there are moments when we are pulling, when you know, you and me and whatever, are pulling 10 gig. It just gets time average. So if you looked at really what the thing was doing, you'd see this horrible scratchy, you know, thing that was
Right.
whizzing up and down. So, you know, the time averaging kind of like, okay, so 3.5 is our time average max, but we're all hitting our time averaged max at probably around the same time. So it really, you know, it probably does work right now, but as whoever it was in HGE, maybe Tim Haas pointed out, that you need to have a margin above and beyond that. Otherwise, people will start to see on the worst moments, just coincidentally, just statistical possibilities, there'll be things that start to you know, buffer instead of work. So you know, we've got a little margin right now, but it's not a huge margin, and so that's something to consider. The 10 gig might not hold all of those for, you know, Wendell, New Salem, and us for very long. That's
Right. Yeah, we might need more. Yeah, I think Tim said you really want to not ever peak more than 80%. So, you know,
would
3.5,
make sense.
1.5, and 1.5 is 6.5.
Yeah.
So we still have some headroom there before we get to the 80%. But
sure.
yeah, bandwidth is only gonna increase.
Yeah.
I'm also thinking that, you know, another reason for not sharing the bandwidth with Leverett was it added complexity to our network. We're installing another piece of equipment, but this ring that Westfield's putting together is also adding more equipment and complexity.
That is correct.
Yeah. So
I did talk to Calix. I was worried about the security of their ring and such. And so when we get to the next stage, I can tell you what. No, I didn't talk to Calix. Sorry, I talked to Jim Crowley. And so when we get to that, I'll tell you what I learned. I think my wife might be phoning twice
Okay.
now.
Huh.
Hello?
Dale, did we, this is off topic here, did we okay both normal meetings on the 15th and the one on the 13th a few days ago?
Correct. Yeah,
Okay.
we
did
approved
both at the same time. Okay,
both
that's fine.
open meetings for the 13th and 15th. We
Both-
did
both.
not approve executive sessions for those two
Right,
days.
right. Yeah, I know. I have those.
Okay.
I'm waiting on those.
Sorry about that.
No worries.
It was her.
Telling you the pot was boiling over again.
Yeah, you're telling me, yeah, talking about the pot it was, yes.
good. I had one other question about the Westfield meeting this afternoon, and Graham, this is probably aimed at you. There was a mention of a particular configuration, and it was LDP configuration and RSVP configuration.
Yeah, I saw it in there. I only read the agenda or whatever, and mentioned the same thing. I haven't Googled it yet, so I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, LDP. I tried to make something of it, but I couldn't. So RSVP, you know, I only know one thing for that. So, so
They
yeah,
indicated that was a higher level of, I don't know, whether it was security, reliability, and so, but I didn't have a clue what it was about, so.
tomorrow I'll Google it.
Yeah,
Okay.
it was something about an instant failover, that it was more robust because that changeover happens faster with one of them. And I think it was the LDP, right?
No,
Was
I
the
think
better one
other-
or the RSVP?
Is what we have now, and they were
Okay.
RSVP because it was better.
Yep. Okay. So RSVP is the quicker one.
Hmm.
Okay.
All right. All right. So just to clarify, so you all are good with me reaching out to Westfield Gas and Electric to get those baseline pricing from them?
Go for it.
Good. Anyone object? Okay, good. All right. Why don't we talk about budget stuff now, Steve?
Okay, so just to begin, our current balance in our account is 54,666. And I was going to give the basic finance first, Gail. And one other financial thing, we've been paying Crocker $1,000 a month truck retainer fee pretty much since we started. And this was a contract, part of Crocker's contract with Tri-Wire to provide this truck held in reserve, give us priority on a truck if there's a major disaster in the area. And, you know, it just flashed to me recently, wait a minute, Tri-Wire's in bankruptcy. They've broken their contract with Crocker. What are we getting for our $1,000 a month now? So Dr. Gail, and she'd have thought, so I Gail contacted Crocker, and within an hour or so, I get an email from Crocker's finance person. Oh, you're right. We've deleted that $1,000 a month charge and are issuing you a credit for it back to November 1st. So we've got $8,000 more in our budget for this fiscal year.
Nice work.
Yeah.
Good,
Nice work, treasurer.
good going, Steve.
Too bad we can't give you a commission.
Yeah.
Indeed.
So, and I have prepared some draft budgets, which Gail, I don't know how you want to.
Do you want me to share them, or would you like to share them?
Want to do a screen share?
Do you want me to do it or you?
Yeah, would you do it?
Yeah, sure. Hold on one sec.
Gail also set up the Google Drive backup on my computer for me. So our financial records are being backed up in the cloud, and Gail and I both have access to them now.
And anyone else can as well if you shall want them.
I can go and get it if you.
Nope, I got it. There we go.
Okay. So I put together an Excel spreadsheet with 3 tabs. First one, staying with Crocker. The second tab with Sheld, with the backhaul not shared. There's a third tab that was running of the going with Sheld with the backhaul shared with Leverett. I think we're not aiming that way right now. So I'd say it's more between
This one and this one.
in the Crocker. And
Yeah.
if we scroll down, oh, one thing about the Crocker one. You have-
Shouldn't this be in our executive session discussion? Talking about just,
No, I don't think so, because this is our annual budget that's going to be presented to FinCom
okay,
in a month,
alright.
and then also at our town meeting. So the reason we're bringing it up now is because our FinCom meeting is coming up it's like on February 22nd. And so we do have one meeting between now and then. But Steve and I wanted to just kind of get our base budget set before then. There's still unknowns. Likely when we meet with FinCom in February, there's still going to be unknowns. But the way that we're going to present this is show it to FinCom with the highest numbers possible. Like, for example, we know that the highest number for a truck retainer here is going to be 12,000. We know that the highest amount of backhaul that we're going to pay is 56,280. And the idea is that in February, we'll get the FinCom's blessing to say, we approve your budget as it is or lower, because that's how it's going to play out no matter which vendor we choose. Does that make sense?
Yeah, okay. I just was, when we're talking about Sheld and all the rest of it, I
Yeah.
thought maybe that was not the best thing to do.
Okay. Significant changes from last year. There is the manager's salary, which has been called a stipend, except in fact, it's not a stipend. It's paid for, it's a salary. And
You've had a pay rise.
Yeah, Steve, do you want me to talk about this?
sure.
So, okay. So Steve and I have been talking over the last couple of months, and he would like to stop doing the financial management for the MLP. It is a lot to expect for a volunteer role. It takes between 5 to 10 hours a month. It's pretty squishy. Steve doesn't track it, but it's a lot of work. And the financial part really should be part of the MLP manager role anyway, because it's part of managing this whole business that we have. So the tasks for that are things like checking the broadband mailbox for the bills and be the recipient for email bills, generate the warrants, submit the monthly invoices, track all the payments, present profit and loss to the committee every month, prepare the annual budget, and of course, advise on financial decision and policies. So taking all that and rolling it into the MLP manager role. But in addition, I need to get paid more.
Oh, yeah.
I think I bring a pretty high level of skill set and experience to the job, and I'm having trouble justifying continuing to do it because of the time it takes and the relatively low pay. So the proposal is that we increase the salary here to 24,000 from 12,000. I realize it's a big bump, but it's going to line up better with the responsibilities that the job entails, and also add in this financial management piece. So it's kind of level setting the pay, but also adding this extra responsibility. For some comparison, we already know that Margie spends about 5 to 8 hours of her full-time admin job working as their MLP manager. In Row, with a quarter of our subscribers, they're paying $6,000 a year for their manager, and that's in the Wired West plan where they're doing a lot less hands-on management. So 6 times 4 is 24,000. And also, we approached Holyoke Gas and Electric 2 years ago to do this role, and they quoted $36,000 a year for just 20 hours of work. So these comparisons, I think, justify the kind of time that this takes and the level of responsibility that it is. And so it's not just for me now to stay in the role, but also looking forward. We really need to set a precedent of having a well-paid professional in this role, because we need to have it built into our budget so that in the coming years, if I should leave, that it's just baked in, right? That this is a real role. It's managing $450,000 in revenue, and it needs professional oversight. It just does. So our budget can very much handle this. We have plenty of funds, and it's going to set us up going forward. So that's the spiel. Steve, do you want to add anything?
Yeah, I would just also say that although I'm turning over the sort of the day-to-day financial management and bookkeeping work to Gail that I've been doing, of paying the bills, sending the bill to Crocker, keeping track of this, keeping the spreadsheets up to date, I will still stay as my board position, stay very happy to stay very much involved in the overall financial oversight of the MLP. Be glad to stay sharing the documents, and glad to present budgets to the FinCom town meeting as needed. So I'm not just dropping out of the finance. It's more the day-to-day tasks, ongoing tasks that I wanted to be free of.
Yeah, it's a pain. You're retired. You should enjoy your retirement.
So I fully support this idea. At UMass, we have a phrase of make sure it stays out of the Boston Globe. The phrase here will be make sure it doesn't get controversial in next door Shutesbury or sensible Shutesbury. So the main thing is, I think as long as we have it really well documented why this is happening, so that if some fiscal curmudgeon comes along, we can rebuff them. The good news is that everybody in town loves Gail, so I don't see this becoming an issue. No, I'm serious.
Well, I also want to be like, like loving the position, like understanding that one of the reasons our network is successful is because, we have good leadership and we need to make sure that
Absolutely.
continues.
Absolutely, I agree
They
completely.
love Gail and they love all of us.
Yeah.
It's a total love fest. It's a love fest.
We're the
Here's
top rated department in Shutesbury.
Yeah,
That's official.
And
they love the service too. Yeah, no, I think it's a good idea. The
And the
proposal
answer-
to, yeah.
The answer to the fiscal curmudgeons is if you just scroll down to the bottom of this, Gail. Yeah, and look at, because of the reduction, primarily the reduction in the debt payments, because the ban has been paid off, look at our projected subscriber cost next year as opposed to this year.
Hmm.
We're talking a $14 a month reduction in subscriber fees.
That's
Yeah.
impressive.
That's going to be hard to grump about.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
That's what Crocker, click over to Shelled. And it gets even better.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, so we're looking at worst case scenario, even with the salary increase and everything. Yeah, we're in great financial shape. So let's keep it that way.
So when we do announce to the town that if we announce to the town that we're reducing rates, we should emphasize that it's because of super diligent work by the committee and the whatever your name is, I forget your director name, the manager.
Yeah,
We should tout that
yeah,
without touting this particular salary thing.
I agree. And we can also kind of package the messaging along with the ISP switch. If we go forward with that, I think that it's going to be a kind of a little marketing campaign that we'll need to run of explaining people, what's happening, why we're doing it, when it's going to happen, what they can expect for the switch in service, and what, if anything, they're going to have to do, such as, set up a new billing and set up a new mailbox and password. So, it's going to be a lot of customer contact over the next 6 months if we go forward with this switch.
So we are projecting the cost you're showing there, the pricing you're showing there, $61. Yeah, that's fabulous.
Yeah, correct.
And is that maintaining our current maintenance budget, or are we dropping our maintenance budget?
It includes a 50,000 routine maintenance for the fiscal year, but plus we have what, $78,000 in reserve?
yeah,
Yeah,
this
that's great.
The other big change here is this emergency reserve fund. There's just a token amount in there, $1,400. And the reason is, Gail, can you bring up the that warrant article that I got? Do you want me to try and find that?
Yep, I got it. One sec.
Okay, I've written a proposed warrant article for annual town meeting to appropriate the FY21 retained earnings. We had $201,000 left over at the end of FY21. $127,000 of that needs to go back to the town to reimburse them for the ban payment that they made in August to pay off the ban.
Yep.
leaves $73,000 left over. So I say, we just have that town appropriate that into the FY23 Emergency Reserve Fund. So we're starting off July 1st with an emergency reserve of $73,000. We've got our cushion right there.
That's fabulous. That's fabulous.
So to cut the maintenance budget from 50,000, from 60,000 to 50,000, it's sure, but you know, we're sitting on a huge cushion there. So
Perfectly fine with me. That's fine.
Looks good.
so the you know, this, I would think I would give this warrant article draft to the, show this to the FinCom
Right.
along with the budget. Show this explains why we've got, why we're able to reduce the emergency reserve in the actual FY23 budget, because we're putting this money from the previous year retained earnings into it.
Right. Yeah, so one thing is that is a committee we need to think about is how, you know, how tight a margin do we want to run here? Of do we actually want to reduce the subscriber cost to this, or do we want a little bit of a step down? You know, to you know, maybe make this like 65, so it's a $10 a month reduction.
I think that's a great idea.
I'd feel more comfortable doing that, because you can go down, you can't go back up.
Yeah,
I mean, you can.
A $73,000 emergency reserve. I just see no reason not to have that as our cushion and not to reduce the subscriber costs down to.
The reason is what Gail pointed out, is that we don't know in 2 years what costs might go up. Or are we gonna have everything so locked in that we can guarantee it won't go up?
How much, Steve, how much do we have in our capital reserve now, at this point?
The capital reserve.
Yeah. For equipment replacement.
Yeah, well, it should be 37,000 times 2, I believe. We're putting 37,000 a year into it, and that's in the budget.
Right, but we can't use that
We
in
cannot
for
use
other
that.
things. We can, so it's, you know, we can only use it to replace equipment, give people new routers.
Oh yeah, I'm asking because it's not a bad thing to fatten that up more at this point. So yeah, so if we didn't hand on all of the savings, then the capital reserve would get fatter quicker, which is a good thing.
Well,
The other issue,
if the
Go
capital
ahead.
reserve would get quicker if we appropriated more into it. If you scroll up a little bit, you know, you can see the appropriation for that. Yeah. You know, if we think we should be putting more into that, then that would be the.
We could for a couple of years if we didn't want to, if we were being cautious and not handing on all the savings straight away.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
if we're gonna have extra money, I'd rather see it in our emergency reserve, because there's more flexibility with that. We
Mhm.
don't
Yeah.
know what the costs are gonna be, you know, maybe we need to use it for the depreciation if there's not quite enough when we go to do that in another 3 to 4 or 5 years. You know, but there's also other things in here that we don't know, and we can use emergency reserve for that.
Okay, yeah.
and if we go to 65 instead of 61, if we end up with an excess at the end of the year, we can put a little more towards the debt. Is that possible?
No.
We can't,
no,
no,
you
unfortunately, we
can't.
can't early,
Not
we
once,
can't early
not once
pay.
they lock, not once it's not a ban anymore.
Right.
Correct.
I
The
see.
remaining debt payment is a 10-year note that does not have a provision for prepayment.
Okay, good enough, good enough. All right.
100,000 a year for the next 7 years or so.
Well,
Okay,
yeah.
good enough.
Oh, Gail, would you? I realize I should have, if I'd done the screen share, I could be recommending this.
It's okay. You can direct me.
Okay, MLP monthly fee, where it's 38,
Mhm.
change that to 43.
43. Boom. There we
Okay.
go.
Now, internet is 65.95 a month. Why don't you make it 42? Okay, 64.95 a month.
That looks great.
Yeah.
And emergency reserve of 37,000.
Um,
And so our emergency reserve is going to be over 100,000.
Yep.
But when you add in the 73 that's coming.
That we
from-
already have, right?
Right.
And actually, why don't we go to the next tab?
Shelled
Uh,
and do the same thing here.
yeah,
So sorry, that was 42. 42.
or yeah, I mean that's way more than we need to be charging.
Yeah, yeah, I see your point.
Yep, it is. And we haven't had any major events. So
Yes,
Yeah.
yet.
But we
Yeah.
pay insurance for me.
Yeah, our major events should be $10,000. That's right.
Yes, and
how
so
many of them?
Well, yeah.
right. So there's another thing about the insurance that I want to flag, that I was reading through our policy because we renew in February. And everything is the same. We're paying just under $10,000 for the inland marine policy to cover our plant and everything. And buried in the paperwork, I noticed a little checkbox, co-insurance, 80%. Now, in health insurance, like that means that after you reach your deductible, you pay 80% of the costs. And
No, it's-
or 20%. I don't know what the 80% co-insurance checkbox in our policy means. So I've reached out to Joanne at Hanover to ask her, wait a minute. This was not our understanding. I did not think we had
Yeah.
co-insurance on our policy. So anyway,
Oh, yeah.
it's
Good
a little
question.
it's a little part of my recent worries about this, of our insurance might be crap, right? Like it's going to help, but
See, you're
there's-
earning your pay again.
well,
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's
I
important.
love
Yeah.
reading insurance policies. It's so fun.
I'll be interested to hear what they say, but co-insurance in casualty insurance is a term it's what the insurance company uses. The insurance company you deal with doesn't accept all the risk themselves, but they spread this out with other companies, and that's their co-insurance. So that might just be an indication of what they're doing, but
That'd be great, but yeah, we'll see.
see what answer you get and let us know.
Yeah. Tell you what, why don't, we're waiting on the co-insurance thing. We still have our, network operator and everything still in flux. Why don't we table the discussion about what our next year's subscriber costs are going to be for now?
idea.
And let's tackle this in our next meeting in February.
Okay.
Yeah, good idea.
All right. So next steps for this, the MLP salary. So I'm going to recuse myself and let you all vote on that. And then Steve, I'm going to write up a letter for you, a draft that you can edit to your heart's content and then send to the personnel board asking for their blessing for this. Technically, I don't know if we have to do that, but kind of just as a courtesy and to keep the wheels of the town moving, even though it's not, something really that's their decision, and not anything that's going to impact our town budget. I think it's wise to get their blessing on it to move forward.
They're going to want to get involved.
Yeah, they're going to want to get involved. So Does that sound like good next steps?
Yeah, put a motion, that one of us puts a motion to do that. We vote on it and yeah, but that our board, if we vote yes, recommends it.
I move we increase the general manager's salary to 24,000 a year for fiscal year 23.
And incorporate the extra tasks.
Yes.
Do we want to recuse more formally Gail from this discussion so that we can say we did?
Yeah, I was gonna suggest that actually. I can't I can't leave because I'm the host for the meeting, but what I can do is go and make myself a cup of tea and let you guys discuss this. So I'm gonna leave my office. I can't hear anything because once I take out my earphones, it
In
all
an
goes through here.
meeting, the person leaves the room.
Yeah.
You don't know.
So,
How will we be able to call you back, Gail?
yep. And Craig, could you text me when you're ready to
Sure.
have me back? Okay.
I can do that.
Look at us using technology. Okay. I'm going to make a cup of tea. Text me when you're done discussing and voting, and I'll see you in a little bit.
Thank
That's
you.
the 8505, right? All right, hopefully it is.
Okay, we've got a few numbers for her. No, it sounds, yeah, I think it's a
I-
good idea.
I think it's important that we say she was absent from the discussion.
Yeah, no, that's a good
And,
point.
and that should be in the minutes.
Yeah, and because she's not on the board, she doesn't have to be at the discussion. So in any case, so yeah, I think it's a bit of a no-brainer. In the motion you put, Steve, if you can just say mention allude to added responsibilities of taking on the bookkeeping and or whatever bookkeeping. It sounds like and invoice paying and such, right?
Yeah, I mean, she earns way more than we pay her right now, so.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah.
That, I started this discussion with Gail a month or so ago, and I'd put in $20,000 as a placeholder in the budget, and Gail was thinking that's great. She was thinking of 18 to 20, and then she later said, maybe just make it 18. I said, Gail, I haven't told you what else I want you to do. Oh, okay, make it 20. And then we talked more recently, and she's saying, I think I really want the 24. And when I'm really keeping track of everything that I'm doing, and when I'm looking at the responsibilities of the job, and to me, it's as much the responsibilities as it is the hours that.
Yep.
So.
The expertise she's really exceptional.
Yeah, it was interesting. I was going to suggest at some point, just talking to you, Steve, to split the jobs and to maybe make make the invoicing and it's that work 6,000 and increase Gail's to something like 18,000, but yeah, 24,000 for all of that certainly is. I mean, having an extra person who does something is worth something just from the point of view of it gives a ladder into the job for potentially for someone. But I don't think I think with three of us on the board and with Craig that if Gail did have to leave, we could we could get someone up to speed.
No, I'm not gonna do anything she does. I'm swamped right now.
Oh yeah, no, but I mean, we know enough to tell the next person what the job is if Gail did have to leave or wanted to leave. So
Maybe.
No.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, I think it's 24 to Gail sounds like a good idea. Jim, any thoughts?
No, I agree. I'm just trying to render this into readable prose here. That's all.
No, don't put too much language to it.
No. It just an explanation of what an additional work that Gail will be doing. That's why I'm just struggling with that language, because so many things have been flying around. But maybe that will be written down by you, Steve, or something I can put in the minutes.
Well, Gail is,
Just a description of what it is. that
Yeah,
we're-
Steve, you could send that after the
Governor-
meeting, right? Steve, you
Yeah,
could you
Ga-
give a summary. Yeah.
Gail is going to produce like a job description and listing these tasks. And
Okay,
to me to edit. So we can, when that's prepared, we could amend that to the minutes.
Your minutes can say, yeah, that'll be amended. That'll be appended. Yeah, an appendix.
Yeah, thank you, appended, yeah.
Gets you totally off the hook, Jim.
no, I'm getting there. We we haven't voted on this though, have we, officially?
No,
No, we haven't written the motion would be something like the MLP manager role will add the responsibilities of how does this language, right? It's not the motion yet, but the MLP manager role will add the responsibilities of bookkeeping and other tasks as detailed in the job description appendix, which will be provided.
Yeah, in the revised job description.
Yeah, in
Yep.
the revised, yeah. So, and yeah, so that would be the, and tasks formally done by Steve, it could be noted. And other tasks formally done by Steve. Just so it's apparent that someone else was doing something that will now be the manager's obligation.
So Steve, you're proposing this motion?
Now, there you could, I'll propose it if you want.
Okay.
If that language is acceptable to everyone. The MLP manager role will add responsibilities of bookkeeping and other tasks formally
Yeah, all right, well,
performed by Steve. Or currently performed. by
currently,
Steve.
yeah.
And period, refer to appendix, revised job descriptions. Or job description.
okay. So we're voting?
You
Uh,
could,
Okay, so Graham, you made the motion,
yeah.
so I'll second it.
What is the vote? All in favor?
All in favor?
I think we have to do the I thing, don't we? This is pretty official.
Yeah, aye. Graham, aye.
Schmidt, aye.
Hemingway, aye.
I don't vote.
Probably not on that one, yeah.
I guess not.
No,
Okay.
I'm supported, but I don't vote.
Okay. Hi there, still in the meeting. The fish is in the meeting should be done in like 45 minutes. The fish is in the cheese drawer. But the rice is cooked. I turned it off. But yeah, if you, I mean, so you didn't. Well, you can eat earlier. I mean, how about cooking up half the fish? Oh, so seeing that business is completed, would it be in order to text Gail to come back?
I can do that.
Okay.
Okay, hopefully she got that.
So Craig, are you in California at the moment, or are you in?
I am not. I'm in beautiful Shutesbury.
No, okay. Oh. But it's school. Is school about to start again?
Next Tuesday.
Okay. Yeah. Well, lovely, healthy Shutesbury, at least.
Yeah,
COVID.
yeah. I did work at home all day today.
That's a good benefit.
It is. Hopefully she got my message.
Maybe she
I'll
found
take-
another job.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Got another job. Yeah.
I'm gonna call her right now.
Hi, you ready for me?
Yes. Did you not get my text? Uh-oh.
Do you have an app? Do you have an Apple phone?
I am Apple, yeah. Oh,
I've been having trouble getting.
for your Android?
on my Android.
Yeah.
Oh, no, that explains it because I did it from my computer, not from my phone, and my computer.
That'll do it.
That'll do it.
All right, sorry.
No problem.
So Gail, we had a unanimous vote to approve. You'll be happy to know that that we we approved 24,000, 2,000 a month, and I suppose we need one more thing to say when it should start, right?
No, this is part of it. This is for FY '23.
Oh,
That's
yeah, okay,
where we're working on.
okay.
Yeah. Steve and I talked about this, and although it would be great to start this sooner because there's a whole lot of work that needs to happen. Again, assuming that we are going to be doing a new ISP arrangement here over the next 6 months, but with the way that the financial structure is, we really have to wait till the fiscal year is over.
Okay, right. Now, remember, we did have in our budget, and we approved that you should be billing us for the extra work you've been doing to with all these, with what you've had to do with
Who
lining up.
tells them the sad news, Gail?
Right, yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
Steve, I'm gonna let you do this one.
Okay.
Yeah. So anyhow, there was extra money in our budget, and we approved that. So so
Well,
that,
we thought there
Was,
was.
and that's past tense. That two past tense statements, Graham. And then this was back last spring, and I emailed Becky that night and said, sorry, last minute change here, but the board voted this $3,000 additional, Gail. And she was a bit grumpy, but okay. And we then got the warrant article, which we voted on at town meeting. And later I look at it, long after town meeting is over, and it was the original budget without that $3,000 additional in it. It just like vanished. Now, the same amount of money, total amount of money is in our budget, the bottom line. It's just there's more in the emergency reserve. So we could still attempt to pay that to Gail
because we approved it.
because we approved it. It would take, I'd have to go to Becky and to Becky and to Ryan, the treasurer, and say, we need to increase Gail's pay $3,000 this year and take it out of the emergency reserve. We haven't taken that step yet. So,
Okay, Gail, maybe the way to do it would be just to put together the hours that added up for the extra work you did for talking to all the different vendors and obviously that's something you don't have to do every month, but you've had to do it heading towards the next deal, and we're heading towards such maybe we're heading towards a better deal than between it, no matter who we get, because of the so therefore I think you could invoice us for the extra hours in a way that that uses
Steve is cringing.
Graham, Gail and I talked about this, and I have something in recollection that a town employee cannot, somebody who's on the regular payroll cannot also
Hmm.
as a contractor. And I don't know if this is a state law or what it is, but we ran into this once some years ago when the chair of the Board of Assessors, who was getting a stipend as part of the Board of Assessors, also wanted to take on the assessing work that we were going to contract out to an outside contractor. But we ran into this problem of an employee also being a contractor. So,
It doesn't seem to be
we've got to talk.
Okay.
We need to talk.
We should use the model the police use, because they seem to change their hours, on a regular basis, for the part-time police.
Yeah,
So,
well, we're not the police.
right. So, well, that's true. But anyhow, so okay, one way or the other, we should be able to get there. But okay.
All right. Well, in the meantime, Steve, would you mind just reaching out and seeing what the options are?
Okay.
Like, it just is there a way to do this at all? And I will send you that letter so that it's just an easy edit and forward for you for the personnel committee.
Very good.
Great. All right. Well, thank you guys for your faith in me.
Yeah. And we could always pay you out of the slush fund that doesn't, how much money is in that one?
Oh, yeah,
Oh, the 1,500, yeah.
1,500.
Well, we should just give you that off the top. So, yeah, so yeah, or at least we have that option. So without doing a motion right now. But
All right, we'll see what Steve finds out about that.
Yeah.
All right. We're doing great. It's only 6:38. Any other things that we need to cover in the open meeting before we vote to move to executive session for the contract talks?
We should move. I have a 7 o'clock Zoom meeting.
let's move.
All right, somebody make that
I
motion.
move we go into executive session to discuss the next contract.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Great. All right, I'm going to close down this Zoom session, get the new Zoom link. That's my personal Zoom from the email, and I will see you there in a minute.
Right. Will we get an email from you? Is that it?
I sent an email earlier today
Oh, okay.
that had the it says something like Zoom links for meetings today.
Cool. Okay. Yep.
Um,
I got it.
Yep, I got it.
good. Everyone good? Okay.
Yep. Bye.